It's time to pop the top off with Pub Talk today. We have some very sad college football news. We're going to talk some more about the future of college football and even more college football records to talk about.
Yeah, this one's going to be good. This is a little better than the last
have
one.
some more beer tasting this week.
What?
And hops of the week to finish us off. But before we get to all that, Pub Talk is brought to you by Route 11 Chips. We know that it's summertime, but all we want to do is just sit on the couch, binge watch Netflix, and stuff our faces with some chips. And Route 11 has got you covered in that department. Since 1992, Route 11 has been chipping away to give its consumers a great and tasty product. So make sure you check out your local Martin's, Food Line, and Giant to pick up a bag today. Okay, let's do this thing. Welcome to another episode of Pub Talk here today. This is going to be a very
Heated
episode.
It's good because it's kind of cold down here in the studio.
Yeah, it is. But it's
shit.
hot outside, and it's about to be hot in this room because
Someone's upset.
today is Sunday, and 2 weeks from now, college football is supposed to be underway. It is supposed to be starting. It is supposed to be all over national television. It is supposed to bring all these fans of these good colleges together. It's supposed to bring communities together. But that's not going to fucking happen this year.
Hey. It's going to happen.
And it's
Just
not going to
not
happen
where you
in
want
the
it to.
magnitude of what it does every single year. And I know that coronavirus is out. Oh, sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Coronavirus is out and about, and it is terrorizing.
It's not social distancing, is it?
And it is
That's
terrorizing
stupid.
our country. It's
That's so
terrorizing the
fucking
world.
stupid.
But at the same time, the magnitude that has forced these Division I schools, Division II schools, and Division III schools to close their whole fall sports championships, and every single championship in that sport, in those sports during the fall, is not going to happen now. All the scholarships for the athletes who go to those schools, all the fans that follow those sports, all the families of those athletes that are at those schools are not going to happen now. And not just that, all the athletic departments, all the people who have jobs because of sports are not going to have a job, most likely. They're not going to have a job now. And I'll be the first to say jobs are in jeopardy everywhere now at the NCAA level. They are in jeopardy now because of this fall sports era.
Yeah, well, there's no
NCAA
NCAA championship except for whatever hokey one they made. That's no Virginia Tech.
Well, luckily for college football, that has never been a problem because there is the college football playoff. It is not hosted by the NCAA. It is hosted by its own entity.
Right.
So they have their own national championship. But at the FCS level, at the Division II level, at the Division III, that is all hosted by the NCAA. That is all hosted by them. So there is nothing there for them. There is nothing. And you want to know why? Because the NCAA tried to make themselves out to not be the bad guys. And they were supposed to make a decision last Monday about what was going to be the going ahead for fall sports. And you know what the decision was? There is no decision. You guys can make it up on your own because we don't want to tell you what's up. But at the same time, when conferences want to say, okay, we want to play football, you know what commissioners and presidents of those conferences say, who are on the NCAA board of councils, by the way? Oh, no. Why would you guys want to do that? Shut up. You shut your mouth right now. You said you didn't care about the decision that was made. So this is the decision. And I'm getting really heated already because this is ridiculous at the level that these players want to play football.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got a lot of people that are being affected by this. And like I said, we said we would never be political in our show, and we're not going to. But when you look at the massive numbers of people that are affected by this decision not to play these conferences, this Big Ten, this Pac-12, you've got serious issues.
I'm
just looking at where they're not playing in the Big Ten and then the Pac-12. I think what else is it? There's
the MAC.
MAC
isn't playing.
Mountain West, I think.
Yes,
also.
they're out as well.
Yeah. And I mean,
One of the most
massive numbers of people are being affected by this.
The most historic rivalry in all of college football is the game. It is Michigan versus Ohio State. It is one of the most historic rivalries in all of sports. And guess what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen now.
Yeah. No, that's not happening.
The Big Ten has some of the best teams that come out every single year. The powerhouses that reside in the Big Ten, because if you say it's the SEC, Alabama and LSU, congrats on being the top two in that division in the past 10 years. The Big Ten is one of the best divisions of college football, brings out some of the most exciting. But hey, it's not all bad, because I'll get to some good news.
Well, are we going to talk about the parents?
No, go ahead about
no,
that.
I'm just saying, hey, you got guys. I'm looking at a guy. I'm not talking about Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence is going to have an opportunity to play, but Heisman hopeful, I would think, right? Yes. But if I'm Justin Fields and I'm playing at Ohio State, I am a viable winner. I won't say winner. I'm a viable candidate for the Heisman Trophy. I have a super chance to be recognized as the best college football player in the country. And that's never going to happen to me. It's not going to happen because somebody made a decision that affects, I forget that number. I saw it somewhere. I'm trying to look on my computer and I can't find the total number of players that are affected by the Big Ten closing and the Pac-12 closing, Mountain West, and what is it?
The MAC
and the MAC. Yeah. All these conferences are closed. I forget the number, but the sheer number of players not having an opportunity to play is astounding.
Justin Fields is a guy who went from Georgia. He was a true freshman who was going to come in, be the next star behind Jake Fromm, and then take over for him.
Yep.
Guess what? He knows is that he's not going to be that good in that system. So he transfers. He goes to Ohio State. He has a fantastic year as their starting quarterback. He finishes in the top 5 in Heisman voting. And guess what happens now? He is not going to be able to play because his conference has seen fit that it is right to cancel the entire season because for the safety of players, when clearly the other conferences are taking measures into their own hands to provide these players the perfect amount of security and well-being to play in good conditions. I've already seen pictures from the ACC because I'll get to that right now. There are conferences who are already still going to play.
Yeah,
there are conferences who are ready to go. The SEC is ready to go. And we kind of expected that because down in the South, football is God. And we also have the Big 12 that is going to play as well. Not as strong of a conference as the SEC, but then you also have the ACC that is already set to play. They're going into conference-only schedules, which is actually very nice. They're taking measures. They're not trying to put their players in other predicaments by going to these non-conference schedules and these big tune-up games. No, they know the schools that are in their conference when it comes to the ACC, so they know that that conference is going to put the right measures in place to make sure that every single player is safe. And one of the measures that I've already seen on Twitter is UVA with these new helmets with these face mask guardings around.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out myself, but hey, if it gives somebody peace of mind, hey, then they're going to do it.
And also, oh my God, you got to wipe off the thing every single play with your towel. That's why you got the fucking towel on your side in the first place. It's not to look cool, even though you guys just wear them to look cool. That's why I know you guys wear them. But at the same time, the players who are at these universities, they want to play.
Their parents want them to play. And some people are saying that the coronavirus is going to show the crisis that it looms even bigger in college football. And that's the exploitation of these athletes, because when you look at these conferences trying to continue to play, you're putting these young men and for all intents and purposes, there will be women involved. I mean, there are managers, student managers, there are women coaches, there are people involved with the program. So we're talking on men and women. And they're saying that this virus is going to lead them into issues and cause problems for them down the road. Because you want to play football, that you're endangering far more people than what you should be.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
people were saying.
And I would forget what it was. What did they say that since July or since was it June or July? I can't remember. They were talking about Clemson. Clemson hasn't had a single, not one player test positive.
Nebraska hasn't had one single. What was it? The state of Nebraska, I think, hasn't had a single death of coronavirus in their state. Nebraska has been a very huge component.
That's because they eat
trying,
corn. They're big corn guys.
They just love husking corn. That's what they love to do. But anyway, as I was saying, this magnitude of you canceling all these places for football is it is astronomical right now what you are doing. You have no idea by just canceling these players' safeties. These conferences already have put in place, look, if you want to opt out of the season, be my guest. Be my guest. The colleges and universities have already said, look, if you want to opt out, that is okay. We are not going to force you to play. They have already put that. There are players who are already qualified enough to go to the NFL who are opting out because they know that they don't want to get themselves hurt and that they don't want to put themselves out there. So why not just wait and go to the NFL? And there are systems in place like that. Just like testing every single day. There are tests 3 times a week at some of these universities. At some of these places, there haven't been any positive tests. Because
Nebraska's had 363 deaths. 300
okay,
deaths.
I where did I read that? I don't know where I read that was. I don't know.
Well, Nebraska and Idaho
that was a
and
bad
Oregon.
stat by me.
I mean, those are some of the lowest. South Dakota, West Virginia, North Dakota, they're some of the lowest. Montana, Alaska, those are some as well. But there isn't anybody there. So they don't have big populations.
Just like New Zealand.
You know what I mean?
We won't get into that,
Yeah,
but
fuck
New Zealand.
When you got a name like Auckland.
But what I was going to say is that there are systems in place to allow these players, because there wasn't going to be any fans. We already fucking knew that. We already knew.
I saw where Jerry Jones is going to allow social distancing in his stadium.
Yeah, but he also said he was going to pay Dak, so we're above that right now. But right now, we already knew that there was going to be no fans. So with no fans in the stadium and no fans being anywhere near the premises, you're saying that all these players are already in danger when they want to play. They want to play. They want to play. And people want them to play. And not only them, they feel safer when they're playing football. Football is not just playing football. It is a lifestyle for these guys. At a college level, it is what you are brought to school to do. It is why you are there. You are there to play for this university and make a name for yourself. And guess what? You're there for 4 years. It fucking flies by because football is a lifestyle for you. And you know what a lot of these players say? I feel safer at school than I do at home because I have something to do.
Didn't that happen to Oklahoma? Oklahoma, they had like 12, 14 players test positive, and that's because
yes, because they were sent home.
Yeah, they had a vacation. They went
Rutgers.
home.
They had a fucking party over the weekend. That
but that's Rutgers.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when they're not kept an eye on and at the school and together in the dorms together, that's what happens. They'll run loose because they don't have eyes on them.
Yeah.
When they're at school and they're being monitored and you have a scholarship on the line, you will not mess anything up and you will feel more safe than ever. Because I'm telling you right now, if anyone gets coronavirus at a Division I university after going to a party, you could kiss your scholarship goodbye. You could kiss it goodbye because you are affecting everybody on that team by your own decision to go out to a party.
I wonder how that will all shake down. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You want to play football? Then you will stay in your dorm, you will go home, and you will do the right thing. It's just like in a normal situation when a player is found with drugs for any sort of situation at the college level, getting arrested, whatever. It's the same thing. You get your scholarship taken away. Only in this case, if you go out partying or just try to do something slick and try to skip by the coaches, you'd lose your scholarship. Because there is something to be done and there is something to get done, and that is to win a championship. And that is to win. And if you're trying to skip out and do things the easy way because you feel like you're entitled to, then you can kiss your scholarship goodbye.
Could be. But, you know,
anything is harsh. I really
but
believe that.
there's accountability and responsibility
Yep.
that you should have as a player. And you should say to yourself, hey, look, if I leave here, then I risk everything. And if you go ahead and go, well, shit won't happen to me, and then it does, well, that's not fair to the rest of the guys who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, or to the other ladies that are involved. Doesn't matter what sport it is. I don't give a shit what. I mean, we're talking about football, but it doesn't matter what sport is involved, men or women. That people could get sick. You give them a chance. You give somebody an inch and they take a mile. Well, shit. You to not hold them accountable for their actions is ridiculous. And I think you're right, CJ. Somebody should be penalized with the loss of a scholarship.
Like, here, I'll give you a situation here. Let's say you're a starting linebacker. You feel all hot and shit. You feel like you're on top of the world. You don't have to worry about anything. My job's secured. I don't have to worry anything.
Yeah.
But you have this guy who the coaches are always in their ass about. And you know, as a coach, if you are a coach and you're talking to a player constantly, it's because you care about them and you know that they can succeed. Excuse me. You know that they can be great, but there is just somebody who is better than them ahead of them, and so they can't risk having them in that game. Well, guess what that starting middle linebacker does? He goes out, he goes and parties, he gets a lot of people sick, and he comes back and he tests positive. Well, guess what that coach has to say? Bud, you're off the team. You took it upon yourself to try and go out and beat the system and think that you're better than what is going on out there. While I have a guy here who stays in every single night, studies his ass off because he wants to be the best. He wants to be the very best. And I know that he is more than capable. I don't care what happens with my season now. He is going out on that field and playing because of your ass thinking that you're better than the law right now and thinking that you're better than the head coach and think
that you know better and that you're willing to take those chances. Yeah. I don't disagree at all with that. But that's responsibility and accountability that you're supposed to have. And that's an expectation that's supposed to be met by all the players. Every coach is supposed to meet that anyway. So you got to hold people accountable. And if you step over the lines for whatever it is, I mean, how many other players have stepped over the line and ended up, and it doesn't matter if you're a well-known guy or a lesser known guy. If you step over the line and a coach wants to hold your feet to the fire, then you're eligible to lose your freaking scholarship just like anybody else.
And I'm not saying that this is just for college. I'm saying that this is for NFL as well. Just think about, you're one of these guys who is trying to go to the NFL, and they ask the coach, hey, coach, we're thinking about drafting a linebacker here. This guy, he was a great player. Tell me more about this kid. Well, actually, he sat out his senior season because he tested positive for coronavirus due to him going to a party on a Friday night. And
well, chances of a coach actually saying that are not going to happen as a prospect. That likely won't happen. But, it's not to say that they couldn't find that information out. You know what I mean? It's not to say
it'll be all over. It'll be all over back because people will find out anything on the internet, especially on Twitter. But I'm saying that these players want to play. You know how heartbreaking it was to see that JMU is not going to have a football season?
Oh, yeah.
We're not a mecca school. I understand that. But every single fall, homecoming is special to me. It is. I get to see my buddies. I get to see my old college friends. And that's not going to happen this year because college football isn't going to happen this year for the FCS.
A lot of teams.
For the FCS and for the FBS, for a lot of those schools as well. Happy Valley, it's not going to be happy this fall. It's not. And it's not just football. It's a lot of sports.
It'll just be a valley.
It'll just be a valley. That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But
Unhappy
football
valley
right now is in shambles. I'm just glad that the NFL has already come out and said, like, look, we're going full force now. We have systems in place. The players who opted out, they have already opted out, and we have to move forward without them. And it's time to go now. Fans are already being told, look, the stadiums aren't going to happen. They will be on TV. The games will be on TV. By this time, hopefully bars will be open so you can go to a damn bar and watch the game as well. And so, like,
which might be better than actually paying all that money to go to a stadium.
Yeah, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that the NFL is putting testing in place. They're putting protocols in place because you know why? They actually talk to the players.
Yeah. Well,
because we're about to get into that here in a second about the future of college football. But the NFL has already talked with the players, the Player Association. They have gone in, and the Players Association has accepted it. They've said, yeah, I like everything that you guys are doing. We'll go forward with it. We'll play football. So any final thoughts left, Coach, or can we move on?
No, I'd be really interested to see if any of the weight of the parents, because there were several players from the Big Ten and the Pac-12 whose parents literally wrote these commissions and saying, you need to reconsider. We understand the risk. Let's move forward from here. And I'd be really curious to see. To me, I said we wouldn't be political, but there's an ulterior motive in all this shit, and I'm not sure what it is. Has to be.
And so we'll get into that right now about the future.
Because Florida's playing,
football.
ACC and SEC in Florida and Georgia throughout the South, and Florida's freaking number of cases in Florida is one of the highest in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll get into the
more
future
I know, the less I know.
College football right now. My job, I work as an equipment person, and I am an equipment manager, and my job, I am hired by the university, but I am told to uphold the standards of the NCAA, uphold the rights and standards of the NCAA. But as far as I'm concerned right now, people right now, I can't stand the NCAA and what they have done to college football.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Schindeldecker just texted the show. He said he was listening, but he can't seem to get the live thing to go. And he said, he goes, we've been wrestling all summer, practicing 4 days a week, hitting multiple camps and wrestling in tournaments. Nobody that he knows of has even remotely gotten sick because of Corona, not having it. And college football isn't having football. He's like, get the fuck out of here. When you're talking about a sport like wrestling, where there is intense physical involvement between two people, you would think that opportunities and the instances of catching this freaking shitty virus would be super high, but they've been doing it all summer, going to multiple tournaments. So apparently there's some issues going around, but football is just different.
You're already putting the fire out more, Coach, and I like that.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, the NCAA, the future of college football has got to change now with this ruling from the NCAA. I agree with what Stephen A. Smith said on First Take, and I don't watch a lot of this stuff. I don't watch First Take, Undisputed, all that. I don't watch
it's
that.
Horseshit.
But I agree that there has got to be some sort of players agency here for college football.
Yeah, because when you think about the number of players and their it almost looks like they're being taken advantage of.
It's a dictatorship in a way when it has to
it
come
is.
to
and
the
that's
NCAA.
the NCAA. And we've said this before, where the NCAA is this governing body that has there's no recourse against them. They just make decisions and hand down the punishments, or hand down the sanction, or hand down the determination. That's it. That's all they do. And there's no arguing them.
Whereas you look at the NFL, the NHL, the MLB, all of these higher up professional leagues have player association governing bodies. They have governing bodies that
so
go.
how do you include high school and college age kids into this? And I say high school because some of these kids are transferring early. They're 17 going on 18, 19-year-old as freshmen in college. How do you extend some sort of governing body to them? How do you do that? How do you allow them to sign up like it's a union, or like
Yes, it's a union. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because
well, who pays for that then?
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that you look at what the NFL did with the whole testing. They came to, they could have said, look, we're not playing football and you guys can eat ass. Like, that's what they could have said. But the Players Association, they were trying to back off. They really were. They were trying to say, look, we don't want to play football. But then the NFL was like, look, we have a solution here.
You're not going to get paid if we don't play, you're not getting paid. That's an easy alternative. But if I'm not being paid anyway,
they're not getting any money regardless. The NFL isn't.
The players are not going to be paid. If they don't play, they're not going to be paid.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the NFL is not going to make any revenue then as well.
I know that, and they know that, but they're a multi-billion-dollar industry itself. You think Roger Goodell's going to not have any part of his $30 million salary paid to him? Bullshit, that's not going to happen. But if you're a $30 million a year player and you opt out or the season doesn't happen, guess what? You're not being paid $30 million. Because with money not coming in, they're going to freaking prorate your salary. They're going to do something that eliminates all that money. Just like all those players who are opting out. You saw it. They get fractions of what they were supposed to make. Dante Hightower has to accept $150,000 a year.
Okay.
But he's a guy who's probably 17, 18 million a year in freaking.
That's his decision.
I know, but his was a health issue and just a brand new baby and the whole 9 yards. And I totally get that. I mean, a lot of these guys are doing things for their family and for themselves personally. I totally get that. I'm not rejecting them at all. And they chose, like you said, to take less money. But if you're a college athlete and you're not actually being paid anything anyway, and then the school's not playing, well, how do you get anything for it then? They shouldn't.
It sounds like you might have to pay him some money then, coach.
Right. That's what I'm saying is that I would actually have to pay.
Allow him to get some money, actually make some money off of their likeness. How about that?
Well,
because God forbid that, people actually like them.
But that only matters to the top tier guys. That's a Trevor Lawrence. Well, what about Trevor Smith, who's like a third teamer at freaking West Virginia, whose likeness doesn't matter in a Madden game? How do you decide that Trevor Lawrence, superstar freaking football player at Clemson, gets more money or gets a better deal than Trevor Smith from West Virginia, who's a third string backup?
Well,
or do they all get the same? Because you belong to a players association that you paid a membership fee to get to.
To start off, yes, it's going to have to be like that. But let's just say, like a Trevor Lawrence,
I'm just telling you that it's not so easy as to say, hey, we're going to find a way to represent.
I never said it was going to be easy, but it's a lot better than saying the decision is there is no decision and you guys can make your own decision. But I get that. But I will make a ruling if I don't like that decision.
Yeah.
And that is bullshit.
Yep. And that's what the NCAA has been doing for freaking the last couple of decades. They freaking do shit like a knee-jerk reaction, and there is no consequence for any of their rulings or any of their actions.
Yeah, it's like
because I've argued that with the Penn State bullshit with freaking I've got a text. Sorry. I argued that bullshit with the freaking Penn State thing. Okay, Joe Paterno and freaking what was his freaking
Sandusky.
Jerry Sandusky, and then all of the people that were involved with that, and then Joe Pa dies, and Jerry goes to freaking prison, and all this shit. And then what does the NCAA do? What did they do? They freaking hammered. They literally hammered the shit out of Penn State. Well, you thought that Joe Pa had something to do with it. You knew Jerry did. Well, he still had freaking kid smell on him.
Overwhelming amount of evidence against him. Yes.
Okay. Then they bring in Bill O'Brien, who takes over, and Bill O'Brien is forced to pick up the pieces of this because the NCAA wants to fucking punish them. Well, let me tell you something. Bill O'Brien and the players that are currently playing didn't have anything to fucking do with Joe Pa and the shit that happened with Jerry Sandusky. So how the fuck do you penalize the rest of those kids and the rest of that freaking program for shit that was done years before by people that aren't even fucking there? Are you telling me that somehow does what you're, and then Graham Spanier, the freaking president at the time, and every other jerkwad AD freaking jerk off freaking administrator who had to resign and take their early out freaking salaries and get the fuck out because of all this Joe Pa shit? What did that have to do with those current players? It's fucking ridiculous. And I think that the NCAA has screwed the pooch on this shit with the coronavirus and everything else. And they're just an example of the cheese dick shit that happens at the college level. And it's fucking aggravating. You think you get upset. That stuff aggravates the shit out of me.
And there's more situations. The whole Baylor situation that
That's
happened.
another one.
They didn't get the death penalty.
Why should they get the death penalty? They should have freaking brought up freaking charges against Art Briles or any of the people that were involved in the incident with the freaking sexual assaults and whatever. They should have went after them in fucking under the law, not attack freaking Matt Rule and the rest of the program and make those kids who didn't do shit. If I'm playing at freaking Baylor and I didn't do anything and I'm a freaking good student and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm a solid individual and player, and then you fucking penalize me for shit I didn't do. That's typical of fucking schools, though. That's how shit's done. You just fucking paint with wide brushes. Get everybody paint with a wide brush. It's fucking stupid. It makes me mad. You said you were going to get mad and I chuckled about it. Now I'm fucking mad, CJ. That ain't right.
Okay. Well, I want to continue though into the future of college football, that college football in these towns is a thriving business tool.
Yeah.
It is a business tool that allows these businesses that during the fall season thrive off of the economy that comes with college football. It thrives off of the amount of people that travel from states and also come out every single Saturday, whatever it may be. Go to a local bar, go to a store and grab a 24-pack, go get a sub from a Jimmy John's, you know what I'm saying? Like, go to little holes in the wall, like all these places. Guess what? That ain't going to happen now. And those businesses are going to close because they thrive off of the fall season.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No problem.
The catastrophe in the magnitude of this season not happening for most of these schools now is astronomical. I know I'm saying a lot of big words, but if you understand the big words, then you know it's really fucking big. You know it is. And also the amount of jobs that have already been lost now, or probably will be lost because of the fall season, are in jeopardy because it says like, oh yeah, we're waiting for the spring now. Yeah, let's wait for that. How are you going to do all of this stuff in the spring when there's already other sports who are going to try and play in the spring as well? You're telling me that you're going to have, 15 different sports in the spring? How is that going to happen? How in the world are you going to play football every single Saturday, soccer matches 3 times a week, lacrosse matches, tennis matches? What else we got? We also have volleyball games. We have all that shit in the fall. And you're telling me you're just going to move it to the spring. Everything will be fine. No, it's not going to be fine. And you're also telling me that baseball games are going to go on, softball games are going to go on. And what's that going to go into? Late June? I don't even know if you can have 2 seasons in a year for football, because they're going to have to go right back for summer workouts in like a couple of weeks if the season ends in May. How is this going to work? You're telling me that you're just trying to put a Band-Aid over this whole situation. And the future of college football, it's in jeopardy for a lot of schools because of this one season being gone.
Right.
Oh,
it's frustrating.
And you thought it was because the safety of the players is what matters when.
And I understand that. It's a very viable freaking. That is a viable. I don't know what you'd say. It's a concern. It's a very viable concern that you don't want these guys unhealthy. You don't want them sick. You don't want them. What the hell do you want, coach? Jesus. The coach has got his coach next to him. The assistant coach just popped up.
That's our cap, by the way.
His name is Coach, but he's an assistant on this freaking board.
Yeah, he is.
Look at his ass. Look at him.
Don't be rubbing up against that now. Come here, Bubba. Come here. All right.
I told him he can't be in this family if he doesn't have a gut. Guy's got freaking like 6-pack abs. He doesn't even have freaking gut.
He's got a very bushy tail.
His older brother's a fat ass, but when you look at him, he carries all his weight in his tail because you rub his gut and he's got 6-pack.
Okay, let's get off the heated topics,
and
let's move on to some more college football records, though, because we talked about team records last week of like records that most likely will never be broken. Well, these are individual records that will probably never be broken. It's what it says in the title, but one of these records I know for sure is not going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and start it out with the top. 22 rushes in a quarter. 22 rushes in a quarter. If that doesn't add up to you, it means that 22 run plays were called in one fucking quarter. It was Indiana versus Michigan State in 1995.
Yeah.
Indiana was having a tough season heading into a November matchup. The Hoosiers had just won 2 games. So basically, against the Spartans, they tried something different, giving the ball to running back Alex Smith, not the Alex Smith that broke his leg, but giving the ball to him again. For reference, 2 weeks into the 2018-19 college football season, teams are averaging 71 offensive plays per game.
70 plays per game. All right. So let's do the
That's
math.
17.8 per quarter.
Less than 20 plays per game.
Smith had 22 carries in one quarter.
That's less than 17 total plays. Now, give or take, some teams will have more depending on the style of offense that they have. No huddle, all the check with me kind of stuff. Get to the line of scrimmage. They go NASCAR. They go full speed. That can get you more plays. But to have just 22 rushes alone is a shitload of freaking is a lot.
It says he had 44 carries on the day total. So he did it 22 more times after that in 3 more quarters.
That's because he was exhausted.
Oh, and he did it all with broken ribs, apparently.
Hey, we had ribs. Those are good.
Next one, which is the strangest and I think the most unbelievable record I have ever seen in my life for college football. 36 punts in a game.
I saw that, but you have to look at the circumstances by which I
get that.
Look at the time frame. It's in the 1930s, right? So there's probably some old single wing teams in there. There was probably very few passes thrown at that time in the 1930s.
There were only 30 yards of total offense, and
I know, but they were played in a shitstorm downpour, and so neither team. They were playing field position. They were punting on first down, dude.
33 times it was punted on first down. Apparently,
well, so every time you touched the ball, you punted it because they were trying. They were Belichick before Belichick was freaking around.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Hell, man.
Because that's a Belichick thing is if he could punt on first down and change field position, flip the field. You've heard that old statistic.
I know.
Flip the field.
But like 36 punts. I'm dumbfounded by that because like the game still ended 0-0. You played field position. You didn't get shit. You didn't get any field position.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one today is the strangest record I have ever seen in my entire life. That truly is. The next one, 7 touchdown receptions in a game. Oklahoma State versus
that's pretty
SMU.
cool, though. That's a cool record. That I caught 7 touchdowns in one game. What was it? What was how many did Al Bundy have? 3 rushing touchdowns in a game or something like that? I don't know.
Ted Bundy?
No, Al Bundy.
I'm just kidding. I know. Yeah. I'm just kidding with you. But 7 touchdown receptions, which is insane. Woods played 48 games in his career. This was Rashawn Woods and recorded 42 touchdowns in them. Holy hell, man. That is a lot of touchdowns. Yeah. My God. And that's an average of 0.88 touchdowns per game. Against SMU, he had 12 catches, 232 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So over half of the catches were touchdowns.
Over half his catches were touchdowns.
Those came on catches of 2, 10, 34, 32, 25, and 5. And 11. Sorry.
Yeah.
They would win 52-6. I would hope to God you would win.
Maybe he just had terrible coverage scheme against him and he just freaking gassed it. But I think that's a cool stat. I scored 7 touchdowns. I had 7 receiving touchdowns in a game.
It's a cool stat. It's not the 36 punts in a game stat.
Yeah, but that's a team thing, and that was a factor of shit going on. The fact that you caught 7 touchdown catches. That's impressive.
All right, next one. 7,000 combined rushing and receiving yards in a career.
Yeah.
Darren Nelson from Stanford At Stanford, Nelson was on the team that first populated the West Coast offense, carving out a new role for running backs. He became the first player to rush for 1,000 yards and catch 50 passes in a season. All that led to Nelson finishing his career with 4,442 rushing yards and 2,500 yards receiving. It helped to have John Elway throwing the ball, though.
Yeah, it
is
does.
what it says. That's still very ridiculous. That record should be safe for a long time. The runner-up combined, which is only still 1,200 yards away from Steve Bartolo from Colorado State. So that is still yet to be broken.
Yeah.
Next one. 31 consecutive games gaining 100 yards or more. Archie Griffin from Ohio State.
He's a 2-time Heisman winner, man.
Yep. It says he won the Heisman in 74 and was just the 5th junior to ever take home the trophy.
Yeah.
And he won it twice the following year.
A 2-time guy.
That year saw Griffin
Clarence
least
loved him. And he's got a great number. I just love the freaking number 45.
45?
Yeah, I just love that freaking. I just loved his helmet. I loved everything about him. He had the bigger jersey. He had the full thigh pad and shit like that. And he was
31 consecutive games.
31 games of 100 yards or more.
Yeah, I know.
Which obviously he's going to have a whole hell of a lot more.
Whoever was the team to actually stop him, my God, they must have had a game plan, because it seemed like the other 31 teams that fucking faced him could not figure it out. Because that's at least 3 years of games right there that you're talking about, at least. Almost 3 years. 2.5 years of games. Okay, next one. 3 punts returned for touchdowns
This
in a game.
badass too.
Antonio Perkins, Oklahoma, against UCLA in 2000.
Boo, UCLA.
Coming into the 4th game of the season, 80 yards
What
on
was
13.
the year? What was the year?
2003.
2003. Okay, yeah, I see it now.
Then later in the second quarter, UCLA went 3 and out, yada, yada, yada. 74 yards to the house. No worries, it was a fluke. UCLA punted again on the next drive, and Perkins took it 8 more yards. That's more like it. Then the Bruins punted a 4th time. Perkins, 84 yards, touchdown. Punter Chris Cluey tried kicking away from Perkins after his second one, eliciting a chorus of boos from the crowd.
Yeah.
The Bruins also tried other tactics. Milvon James hit Perkins as he fielded a punt. late into the
freaking
third
penalty.
quarter.
Freaking.
Finally.
The halo effect.
Yeah.
The halo call.
Basically being in his bubble. Finally down 52-24. The Bruins punted for the 9th time that game. Perkins gratefully returned it 65 yards for a touchdown. That last punt broke 2 FBS records for punt returns in a game and for punt return yardage, with Perkins' 277 punt return yardage in a single game. That's ridiculous. And then finally, something that has actually happened in my lifetime of actually watching sports, 94 for 94 on extra points in a season. Roberto Agoyo.
Agoyo
from Florida State in 2013.
But then he freaking ended up in the NFL and he couldn't hit shit.
Oh yeah, it was demoralizing.
It was
seeing him
it was sad to watch him freaking.
He was on the Hard Knocks with the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
they wasted a 2nd round draft pick on this guy for a kicker.
Who's the number 1 guy? The big dude from freaking the Raiders who picked him. What was his name? Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah,
first round guy.
This was the year that they won the national championship, 2013. Agoyo took over as the starting kicker after Dustin Hopkins graduated. Hopkins even went 202 for 207 on extra points in his career and went 65 for 66 in 2012. Agoyo took 94 extra point attempts as a freshman. He made every single one of them. Agoyo would finish his career in college 198 for 198, leaving for the NFL draft after his junior season. That shows 94 points, 94 touchdowns were scored by the Florida State Seminoles that season, because that's extra points only comes after touchdowns.
Right.
That's only when it is available. So that's even more fucking ridiculous how good that Florida State team was back when they won the national championship. because that was the last time the BCS National Championship was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Because the following year,
Yeah.
Ohio State wins the inaugural
Inaugural.
college football playoff opening series. Okay, Coach, that's all the records. You
Oh.
have the beer
Oh,
ready?
shit. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But actually, you probably aren't seeing this in the description because it was actually a surprise add-in to the show because I thought that we weren't going to have any beer tasting. We hadn't gotten any beer, but Coach actually said that we do have some beers to taste. So we're going to be doing some beer tasting. If you are a new listener to us, this is something that we do on the show during the summertime when sports aren't happening because clearly they're not happening now.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
We drink beers on the show from all around the country. Hopefully that they taste very good, and we hope to have them once again. But we hope that you guys enjoy this music because it's time to get to drinking.
All right. So we're going to do 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with the bottle.
Bottle. Which one?
Devil's Backbone.
Okay. I thought this was interesting. So I just happened to have to go to the grocery store again with your mother. And so I was wandering through and I thought, well, shit, freaking Martin's has beer and you can select a 6-pack. And she goes, why don't you get beer for the show? And I was like, well, I guess I will. And so they have an O-Fest lager. This is an Oktoberfest beer that is seasonal and it's supposed to be smooth. It's 5.9% alcohol by volume. It has a golden color and it has I would say probably the way it smells, it probably has a little bit of a caramel to it. I smell just a little bit of caramel in it. But this is an Oktoberfest style beer. It's called O-Fest by Devil's Backbone. Now, Devil's Backbone is I think it's now owned by Anheuser-Busch, but it's made in Lexington, Virginia, by the Devil's Backbone Brewing Company down there. And the only reason I know about them going back many years now is because Route 11 sells a lot of chips to them in their brewery. Pretty good stuff, CJ?
It's very strong.
In the middle, it is. It's not a strong starter and it's not a strong finish. It's like
it just hits you all of a sudden right there in the middle.
But it's not an awful taste. It just has a little bit. You think how would you categorize that? Would you say that was malty? Like a malted drink? Because that would give it its strength. Like malt liquors are very strong.
I guess so.
But this is 5.9%. It's a little bit more than an average beer.
I guess so. I don't know though.
That's not bad by any stretch. It's called O-Fest, but that's not bad at all. It's really not. I'm going to put our show glass up there. All right. So do you want to go with a can next?
Sure.
I wanted to try that one that I thought was very interesting. This is a gluten-free beer that only has 3 net carbs, dude.
Why are we doing this?
Omission Brewing is the ultimate light golden ale. Omission Brewing Company. I just thought it was a very freaking cool. This is made out in Portland, Oregon. I just thought it was a cool freaking label that says they only have 3 grams of carbs in it. So it's got to be light as hell. Like Corona is like super light to me. This is, oh, look at that. It is a very light coloring, isn't it? It's very clear. Oh, you know what? It has a very, it has a hoppy smell to it. A hoppy smell. Like it's going to have bitters in it. Let's taste it. But it's not bitter strong.
That is very light.
It is very light.
That is like
it has a hoppy. It starts out very
hoppy now.
It starts out that way.
The aftertaste is very hoppy. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not all. It's not all bad. It's not all bad.
But it's so damn light. Like there's not much to it. Like
it has a. When I say it has a bite, it has like a refreshing kind of finish. Like it's like effervescent. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I can get that as well. But like I said, there really is not much to it.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's Omission Brewing's Ultimate
Ultimate
Light.
Light.
The Golden Ale. It says Ultimate Light. That's what I'm talking about, brother. All right, so we got 3 more cans and 1 bottle. I'm going to save the bottle for the other one. And I thought we'd go with, is that one? Is this it? Right. I think this is it. Unless you want to hit that other bottle. No, I'm going to save that for the next one. I'll put that in the middle there. So this is Founders. And we've done Founders on the show before.
Yeah.
But this is a Pilsner that's a hoppy Pilsner. And I'm trying to look at where obviously Founders is made in I can't off the top of my head. Oh, it's 5.5%. So it is 45 that's right. Founders is made in Grand Rapids. So this is 45 IBUs, which is going to have a little bit of a hoppy taste to it. Well, but has a very light color to it. Very light. There you go. Founders made in Grand Rapids. It does have a hoppy smell to it, but it says it. That's what they are. But it's a Pilsner, Founders Pilsner. Not bad.
A lot more hoppier than the second one, though, than the Passion.
Yeah.
Going down, it's not. Yeah, I'm getting a lot in the aftertaste.
Yeah, its finish is a little
little rough.
Yeah. It's not. It's one of those beers. Like if I was at a party and this is what they had, I could have a couple of them. But am I going to sit there and hammer?
No.
3, 4, 5. No, I'm not. I'm not. And I don't want to knock a beer down because, quite frankly, it's beer.
Unless it's Wood Booger, but
if it's Wood Booger, we're just fucking.
But like, it really has a struggle whenever it goes down about the aftertaste with the hoppiness. Like the hoppiness stays around. It's not like I agree with O-Fest being first though now.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. And I'm not
knocking the omission. Yeah.
No, I'm not either. And I'm not knocking the Founders. I just think that you've heard me say this a gazillion times on the show that it's about the finish of a beer.
Yeah, it is.
It's about how does it finish and how much does it come together when it finishes. And so that's a big thing for me. And that Founders beer doesn't finish. Could I drink a couple of them? Yeah, no problem. But could I drink a couple of the omissions? Yeah. Could I drink more than 2 of these O-Fests? If it's in a freaking cooler, packed in ice, and it's a summer day outside, fuck yeah, I'm drinking way more than them.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that's the right list there for those beers. It wasn't the strongest group of beers today.
No, I outkicked my coverage
a couple weeks ago with the Honor Brewing and the Vanilla Porter one.
I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to savor that.
Yes, this one. The Honor Brewing Maple Porter was fantastic.
Yes.
And the Downright Pilsner,
yes.
The Irish Stout.
Irish Stout. I was not expecting that to be really strong, and it just turned out to be a great beer.
And then Narragansett last week.
I can't wait. We're going back. We're meeting the Buzzies. We're going down to Manassas next weekend on Saturday, and we're going to hang out with the Buzzies and get ugly. And then on Sunday, we're going to stop off at the freaking Total Wine, and I'm going to stock up on my Narragansett because that shit was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it was a very strong beer. Okay, so let's move on to hops, and then let's get out of here.
All right.
How many do you have this week, Coach? I have 1 as well.
Well, I had 1.5, but I don't know how much.
You can go ahead, though, and do yours.
Well, mine's kind of silly, actually. I don't even know if it's worthy of hops, but so I get into these odd news shit things. And so Mississippi, has been, and I don't like to get political. Mississippi's had a flag with the rebel rebel flag design on it. You know,
The
with
Confederate flag.
the Confederate.
Frag.
Did you say fag?
No, I said frag.
I was gonna say we can't be
like
freaking.
like frag grenade.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, that's what it
I
was.
said fraggers.
Okay. You fraggot. No, anyway, so Mississippi is thinking of adopting a new flag. And so they've been asking people to, rally around the cause and submit new designs. And somebody designed a freaking flag with a mosquito on it.
Oh, what?
A
Wait,
mosquito.
what?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you a picture of it, CJ. There's the flag with all the stars around it, and the flag has a big fucking mosquito in
And
the
this
middle.
is for Mississippi.
Yes. And the thing about it is, it was never supposed to be. Oh shit! What happened? Oh no.
And it was never supposed to be what?
It was a part of these submissions that were accepted by the department, the State Department of Archives and History, and so they're the ones who have developed the flag for the state of Mississippi. And so they were like, "Hey, they solicited, they asked people to come up with their designs, and apparently they got like 100 and some odd designs, and then they'd whittle them down into groups, right? And this one." They thought it was a joke, like nobody was serious about it, and it ended up getting down. It ended up making the final. How many were left? I forget. It said how many were left. There were 3,000 submissions. 3,000 submissions for new flag designs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a lot of submissions.
Yeah, that's a lot. But it shouldn't have been. It was one of the finalists. The mosquito made it.
What?
Yes, and it wasn't
What the
supposed
fuck?
to be there. But the guy who said it, he goes, he says, I believe people from all backgrounds can get behind this and raise it proudly. And he's a 26-year-old kid. And he tried to tell them when he made his submission in his email, he tried to say, "Hey, look, there's no race in this flag. There's nothing. It's just a fucking mosquito." And he goes, "Anyway, if you've ever been to Mississippi, mosquitoes, it's their state. We just live in it." And so that's why he freaking made this flag. The mosquitoes, it's their state. And but they wanted to have a flag, but it became this big joke. He thought it was going to be really good. And then it says that it's slowly gaining favor, but they don't think it's going to make it. It's not going to be the biggest quote was, "It's so bad, it's good."
I do that flag is awful.
Yeah, somebody said I would fly the mosquito. I would proudly fly the mosquito. How cool is that, though? I mean, that's just.
Now that I am thinking about,
they said it was a typo. They said it was a typo that got it into the second round of finalists.
Oh
But,
my God!
It's
people.
not. It's not going to get any traction. But I started reading and I thought, how stupid is this? And then I started reading about it, and it's right. It does fly high mosquito flag.
That is awesome, though. That really is. That is
Yeah,
a
I
good
was
one.
like, that's kind of cool. I'll throw that on the show today. And I thought it was really cool. But the other thing was the other hops of the week had to do with our smoking attempt yesterday. And by smoking, I'm not talking about a pipe or tobacco. We're talking about
Pipe and a good
meat, smoking meat. And so I've been tinkering with different times. And so yesterday I used what was referred to as the 3-2-1 method. I prepare the meat overnight, and I season it and use a dry rub overnight, and then I bring it close to room temperature on the day when it gets ready to hit the grill. I grill it for 3 hours, pull it from the grill after 3 hours, because at that point it's got enough smoke in it and I've got enough bark on it that I don't have to dick around with it. And then I foil it for 2 hours. I put it back on the grill, or I raise my oven for finish it in the oven. And I did this once before, but I did it with butcher paper. Yesterday I did it with aluminum foil. Put it in the oven at 300 and let it cook in the oven for an hour.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours.
I was there to
that's
witness it.
2 hours. And then I took it out and wrapped it in a towel and put it in a cooler for a little over an hour. I think I put it in there for an hour and a half. That's 3, 2, 1 is only supposed to be an hour, but I just like to let it sit there. And I'm telling you what, CJ, when I put the knife on that brisket and the weight of the knife could have cut down through there, it was just a tinge dry, just a little bit.
I thought it was still very good.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I think I could have had a little more smoke, and I think my my chunks weren't big enough. When I say chunks, my smoke chunks, my wood was not big enough. And of course, it was raining, and I'm sitting out there, and I had temperature issues and shit like that. But the ribs. What'd you think of the ribs?
They were good. They were good. The smokiness was still there.
The smoke, yeah, because I kept them.
Yeah.
I wrapped them for 2 hours and then I pulled them off and then caramelized the sauce on it in the last hour and 15 minutes or whatever like that. But I just have been tinkering and I loved our smoking. I think I'm going to make one more smoking attempt before the end of the summer. And I was shopping for brisket today. And I think I'm going to do another flat one because I had a lot of success with the flat brisket. So if you know anything about smoking meats and stuff, the brisket that's flat is an even piece that you can clearly see the muscle striations are horizontal. And I had to trim too much of this last one. And I didn't like that. I thought I was getting rid of a lot of flavor. I lost a lot of weight out of it because I trimmed so much fat off of it. But I thought for a smoking attempt, I thought I'd give it probably 7, an 8, 7.5 to 8.
I mean, it's your own creation.
Yeah, and I used a different method and a little bit of timing, and I messed with the temperature. I operated on a higher temperature than what I did the last time. The last time I smoked it, I did it, 225, 230, somewhere around there. This one, I bumped the temperature up and kept it up at 260. Now everybody says, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to do low and slow and blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. This was just fine. It turned out fantastic. I think next time we need to add a little more seasoning to the brisket. It needed to carry more sauce, right? And this one just didn't, and it was fine. But as soon as I cut down through there and that knife drove down through that thing perfectly, I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna."
Could never go vegetarian or vegan, people.
No, not in this house. You're not going.
Not in this fucking lifetime. Okay, so I'm gonna do mine and then let's get out of here. Mine actually has to deal with.
Did Shindle Decker ever show up online?
Oh yeah, he's right here. He's still in the show. He's still here.
Why didn't he call?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to fucking call. Who cares?
He's been a freaking host on the show.
Okay, he has not been a host. He has been a guest. Okay.
Well, guest.
We're the hosts on
He's
this
a guest host. He's been twice. He's been back-to-back weeks. He was a guest host, right?
I think it was like one and then one off and then one on again.
So yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
so mine actually has to deal with video games. One thing about this whole pandemic, I will say, is that staying inside. One of the things I will say that has
You're an inside boy anyway, CJ.
Okay, yeah, well, the fucking world sucks regardless of it, and you have to realize that. But one of the things that has even made my interest more apparent during this pandemic is professional video games, like professional esports. That's what it's called. It's not e-gaming. It's not whatever you want to say, e-thugging or whatever it is, whatever you want to say. It's professional video gaming, esports. And I think that people need to actually see that esports is actually a very prevalent thing. It's actually a booming industry, especially in a time like this where there are no live events and everything is online. It's a very prevalent thing.
Oh yeah,
and it's huge too, because like the places where there are live events all across the world, you have professional casters who cast these games.
I think those guys are part of the coolness of it.
Yeah,
I think the players, because I've watched a handful of them. You watch your Siege guys, and your other games, but I've watched the Call of Duty guys.
Call of Duty, yep.
And everybody has like this swagger about them, and they carry this level of, I don't know what you
Call
call
of Duty is like that douchiness. It is about them.
It is about
The
the
trash
player-
talking and the-
yeah,
and
the players
The
themselves.
rivalries in Call of Duty. Yeah.
As long as you're not fucking Matt from Canada who's
But
15, fuck
the,
you.
The casters that cast the game, they're explosive. They're like
Yeah.
NFL
Yeah,
casters.
you know, he
They're like-
reminds me of who's the Doc Emmerich. Like
Yeah,
he's a
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They're explosive. They make the game exciting
yeah.
for the viewers at home, because the people who are there, sure, they hear them on the loudspeakers, but the people at home, they don't hear all the noise. They just hear the casters getting louder and louder and
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
excited.
yeah.
Sure, the plays are happening and the players are getting hyped, but the casters make it so enjoyable.
Sure.
And then the players, they get paid a lot of money. This is a job to them. Like this, sure, it started out as a hobby because that's what gaming is for you. But when you realize that you're a very good player at a game and you have an opportunity to say, like, I can make some money from this.
Yeah.
Why don't I try and see if I can go far? Now, it is a very huge risk. This is not a guaranteed type of thing,
Right.
because it's just like professional sports. Your job is on
You
the
get
line.
a thumb injury and you're screwed.
Yeah, a wrist injury, a thumb injury. Like this isn't like a torn ACL type of deal. But your position is on the line at all costs every single match. It's just like professional sports, football, soccer, no matter what, your job is on the line. And I think that it's really cool, especially during this pandemic. It has kept me very entertained. And I hope that like people, even my mom has like gotten an interest in finding out what these things are and trying to understand them, because she thinks it's cool, and it is cool. I'm telling you right now, it keeps you interested. Some parents think it's like, God, it's just a fucking waste of time. Well, guess what? Video games is a way to get away from the real world. It is.
And just to give you an example, and I watch videos, and I have my favorite guy. His name is Nick. It's his tag on YouTube is called It's Nick.
Okay.
And he does now. Nick is not this. He's got a great voice, and he's got this great persona when he plays, and he's very good at playing. But is he the end all be all of a player? No, he's not. But the thing about it that is, he has 634,000 subscribers to his
On
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
Over 500,000 freaking subscribers to his YouTube channel.
And some of these big events, they have hundreds of thousands, even millions of people watching
Right.
them, because people watch professional video games
Right. And I'm just telling you that this is a kid
on YouTube.
on
That's
YouTube,
on YouTube, yeah.
and he's a YouTube freaking superstar.
Yeah.
600,000 freaking subscribers.
People follow and they see them as like heroes to them in a way, because they're like, dude, these guys are so fucking good. I want to be just like them
Right.
when I play video
Right.
games.
Right.
And that's good. That's a good and bad
I am like
thing.
them.
That is a good and bad thing. I
Every
will
once
say.
in a while, I'm as good as
But I will say that during this pandemic, live sports hasn't been a thing, but esports, it's a still booming industry right now. Even though LANs, which is like local events where you can go to and big group gatherings happen so you can watch them, they're not happening.
they're not happening.
But
But there's still
online
the crowds
tournaments.
online are huge.
Yep. they're ginormous.
How many people are potting into a tournament, so to speak?
So just today, there was the grand final of a major event, which is like a top event, an S tier event.
Don't tell me it was in Canada. I'm
No,
gonna be
it
fucking
was
mad if
online. It was online.
Yeah, but where online?
It was.
Where was it
Vegas?
being hosted? Okay. All right.
70,000
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be
70,000
there, baby.
people- 70,000 people were tuning in onto the Twitch channel, which is where
Yeah,
it was being
I got
shown.
a Twitch. I got a Twitch account.
So I'm telling you right now, professional esports is
Hey, we
huge.
got a bunch of people coming.
No, it was just Shendel Decker still.
Oh.
But I'm telling you, if you're a parent out there, give it a shot. Look at what these kids watch sometimes. Sure, you don't have to like the game or try and understand it completely.
What's wrong with porn, Dad?
But
no,
no,
no.
no, it's
Watch
unrealistic.
Watch
shit.
what, it's not. They make a lot of money doing that shit.
I know, but it's still very unrealistic. Okay, nobody. Like, I don't know if you're ever. Trust me, if you are a pizza guy
when
and
you
you
go,
walk up,
when you go zoop and it goes like that.
yeah, that's unrealistic for 90% of men.
Wow,
And then also you walking up to a door and say, like, somebody order a large sausage pizza. It's like,
no,
no,
but I did order large sausage.
Shut
No, No,
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That
No,
doesn't
no.
happen at
it
all.
doesn't.
So if
Excuse
you're,
me, ma'am. Can I check your oil?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot different where you can actually become a professional esports player
Yeah, you can't
and not get
you
laid
can't-
as a pizza delivery boy.
There are not 70,000 people coming to watch a porn movie. They're just not.
Please no. Yeah,
No,
please
they're
no.
Not online anymore.
All
Well,
right.
they might be online because there's some creeps out there.
All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, though. It's been a good show for us today. Thank you, Shindle Decker, for coming by and
Johnny
stopping
boy,
by. Thank
thanks
you
for
for your
coming.
input on the
wrestling.
college wrestling epidemic.
Yeah, he's
in
pretty
the
much
sports.
calling the college football guys pussies because if you've got wrestling going on and that's as close to physical contact as you could possibly have, and they've been doing it all summer without illness. Why not?
So anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week.
Yep.
Hopefully, maybe college football will absolutely happen now with the Big 12 and the ACC and SEC. Now they will officially confirm that they will have their seasons. But
I think they're going to hang on to the very, very end.
God, I hope not. I hope they go through and say,
At this point, I'm telling you, CJ, at this point, they're so in deep. They're so in deep at this point that they can't not do this. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they freaking sink a hook in and just go, hey, we're going to fucking do this. We're going to play this game and we're going to show people that you don't get sick by playing the game.
yeah, guys, you heard it here, folks. We have microphones, so we're always fucking right.
We're always experts, man. That's what experts are about.
We hope you guys have a safe week.
Yes.
And
Going
until-
back to school tomorrow, brother.
Oh,
I'm going back to school
We'll see how
tomorrow.
that hell resides.
First
now.
day for teachers tomorrow.
But until then,
The fuck
guys,
was I thinking?
peace out.
See ya.
Love you.